When you find yourself caught in a situation where someone is constantly playing with your emotions, leading you on, making you believe one thing while their actions suggest another, it's crucial to recognize the game for what it is. Most people who manipulate others in relationships do not do so out of love, care, or genuine affection. They do it because it gives them a sense of power, a feeling of control, and an ego boost, knowing that someone is emotionally invested in them while they remain emotionally detached. This kind of manipulation is not accidental. It is deliberate, calculated, and often repeated with multiple people. Understanding this is the first step to breaking free. A manipulator's greatest strength lies in your unawareness. As long as you believe that their mixed signals, their on and off behavior, their sudden affection followed by cold distance is just a phase or something you can fix, you are caught in their web. They know exactly what they are doing. They know the right words to say when they sense you are pulling away. They know when to give you just enough attention to keep you hanging on, but never enough to make you feel truly secure. This is not love, this is control. And until you recognize it for what it is, you will continue to be played. The first sign of the game is inconsistency. Someone who truly cares about you will not be hot and cold. They will not shower you with affection one day and disappear the next. They will not make promises they have no intention of keeping. A person who is playing with you thrives on keeping you uncertain. They want you to question where you stand because that uncertainty gives them power. If they know you are waiting for their text, waiting for their call, waiting for them to finally choose you, they have already won. They have conditioned you to accept breadcrumbs, to lower your standards, to be grateful for whatever little attention they decide to throw your way. The moment you accept this, you become trapped in the cycle. Another way manipulators keep you engaged is through emotional highs and lows. They will make you feel special, wanted, even needed, only to suddenly withdraw. This creates a psychological dependency. Your brain starts associating their attention with happiness and their absence with sadness. And because you have already experienced the high of their attention, you begin to chase it. You start justifying their behavior, making excuses for their lack of effort, and doing more to prove your worth to them. But no matter how much you give, they will never meet you halfway. They don't need to. They know you are invested enough to stay even when they treat you as an option. The reason manipulators continue to play the same game with different people is that it works. It works because too many people ignore the red flags, hoping that they can change the person. But you cannot change someone who enjoys the game they are playing. You cannot convince someone to value you when their entire strategy is based on keeping you uncertain. The moment you realize this, the illusion starts to break. You begin to see their behavior for what it truly is: a carefully crafted pattern of manipulation designed to keep you attached without any real commitment. One of the most dangerous aspects of dealing with someone who is playing you is the self-doubt it creates. Over time, you start questioning yourself. Maybe you're overreacting. Maybe you're expecting too much. Maybe if you just wait a little longer, they will finally be ready to treat you right. But these thoughts are not your own. They are a direct result of the manipulation you have endured. A person who truly cares for you will never make you question your worth. They will not make you compete for their attention or treat you like a backup plan. Love should not feel like a test, a game, or a battle for someone's affection. When you recognize that you are being played, your next step is crucial. Most people, upon realizing they are being manipulated, try to reason with the person. They want closure, an explanation, a moment of honesty. But the truth is, you will never get the answers you are looking for. Manipulators do not operate with honesty. They do not care about how their actions make you feel. What they care about is maintaining control. If you ask them why they act this way, They will only gaslight you further. They will twist the situation, make you feel like you are imagining things, or even blame you for their behavior. This is not someone you can reason with. This is someone who is invested in keeping you confused. The longer you stay in the game, the harder it becomes to leave. Every time they pull away and then come back, your attachment to them deepens. You start believing that every return means they must care, that maybe this time will be different, but it never is. This cycle will repeat until you break it. The only way to truly escape is to recognize that their actions are intentional. They are not confused. They are not scared of commitment. They are not emotionally damaged in a way that you can heal. They are simply playing a game they have mastered, and you are just another player on their board. Emotional traps are designed to keep you stuck in a cycle of confusion, self-doubt, and dependency. They work because they exploit your emotions, using your own feelings against you. When someone plays with your heart, they don't just manipulate your thoughts. They manipulate how you feel about yourself. They make you question your worth, your intuition, and your own reality. The longer you stay trapped in this cycle, the harder it becomes to detach. You begin to believe that your happiness is tied to their validation, that your peace depends on their presence, and that your self-worth is determined by how they treat you. But none of this is true. The real power lies in your ability to detach, to take back control, and to free yourself from the emotional prison they have created. The first step in detaching from emotional traps is understanding how they work. Manipulative people do not operate by accident. They are intentional in their actions, even if they claim otherwise. They keep you emotionally hooked by giving you just enough to hold on to, just enough attention, just enough affection, just enough hope to keep you invested. But it is never enough to make you feel secure. This is by design. They don't want you to feel secure. They want you to feel desperate for their approval. The more desperate you become, the more power they have over you. And that is exactly where they want you to be. Always chasing, always waiting, always questioning. One of the most dangerous emotional traps is the illusion of potential. This is when you convince yourself that if you just wait a little longer, if you just try a little harder, if you just prove your worth, they will finally see your value and treat you the way you deserve. But this is a lie. The reality is that they already see your value. That's why they are playing with you. They know what you bring to the table. They know you are kind, loyal, and willing to give your all. But they also know that as long as they keep you in a state of waiting, they don't have to do anything to keep you around. The more you believe in the illusion of potential, the longer you remain stuck in their trap. Another powerful emotional trap is guilt. Manipulators use guilt to make you feel responsible for their actions. They will make you feel like you are overreacting, being too sensitive, or expecting too much. They will twist situations to make it seem like you are the problem, that you are the one who needs to change, that you are the one making things difficult. And because you care, because you genuinely want things to work, you begin to believe them. You start to doubt yourself. You start to walk on eggshells, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be good enough so that they will finally treat you right. But no matter what you do, it is never enough. Because the issue was never you. The issue is that they never had any intention of treating you right in the first place. The moment you realize that their behavior is intentional, you have to make a choice. You can continue to engage in the game, hoping that one day they will change, or you can decide to detach. Detachment is not about cutting someone off physically. It is about removing your emotional investment. It is about refusing to let their actions dictate your happiness. It is about understanding that their words mean nothing if their actions don't match. Detachment is power. The less you react, the less control they have. The less you seek their validation, the weaker their grip becomes. And the moment they realize they can no longer manipulate your emotions, their entire strategy falls apart. One of the hardest parts of detaching is dealing with the withdrawal. When you have been emotionally invested in someone who has been playing you, walking away feels like losing a part of yourself. Your mind will try to pull you back. It will remind you of the good moments, the times when they made you feel special, the times when they gave you hope. But you have to remind yourself that those moments were part of the trap. They were not real. They were calculated moves designed to keep you hooked. The love bombing, the sudden affection, the grand promises, they were never about love. They were about control. Once you see it for what it is, it becomes easier to let go. The key to detachment is shifting your focus back to yourself. When you are caught in an emotional trap, your entire world revolves around the other person. You think about them constantly. You analyze their words, their actions, their behavior. But the moment you turn that energy inward, everything changes. Instead of wondering what they're thinking, you start asking yourself what you need. Instead of waiting for them to choose you, you start choosing yourself. And that shift in focus is what breaks the cycle. Inner certainty is the foundation of self-respect, self-worth, and personal power. When you know who you are at your core, when you are firm in your value, and when your sense of self is not dependent on anyone's approval or validation, you become unshakable. This is what separates those who are easily manipulated from those who stand strong in their truth. The reason so many people fall into emotional traps and allow themselves to be played is that they lack inner certainty. They doubt themselves, they seek external confirmation of their worth, and they allow others to dictate how they should feel about themselves. But when you build an unshakable sense of self, no one's behavior can shake your confidence, no rejection can break you, and no amount of manipulation can pull you into someone else's game. The problem with many people is that they look for certainty outside of themselves. They believe that if someone chooses them, if someone commits to them, if someone sees their value, then and only then will they truly be worthy. This mindset is dangerous because it puts your self-worth in the hands of others. It makes you dependent on their validation, their attention, and their approval. And when you give someone that kind of power over you, you become vulnerable to manipulation. A person who is playing you will sense this weakness and use it against you. They will give you just enough attention to keep you hopeful, just enough affection to make you feel seen, but never enough to truly secure you. This keeps you in a cycle of seeking their approval, of proving your worth, of chasing their validation. But the truth is, no amount of external validation will ever be enough if you do not believe in your own worth first. Inner certainty is about knowing deep within yourself that you are enough exactly as you are. It is about understanding that your value does not decrease just because someone fails to see it. It is about realizing that you do not need to prove yourself to anyone who does not already recognize your worth. When you truly believe this, you stop tolerating mistreatment. You stop entertaining people who do not appreciate you. You stop begging for love, for attention, for respect. You stop chasing after those who are not chasing after you because you know without a doubt that you are worthy of so much more. A person who has inner certainty does not seek validation from outside sources. They do not need someone to text them back immediately to feel secure. They do not need constant reassurance to believe they are loved. They do not fall apart when someone walks away because they know that their value is not determined by another person's ability to see it. This is the power of inner certainty. It makes you untouchable. It makes you immune to games, to manipulation, to emotional traps. Because when you know who you are, no one can convince you otherwise. Building inner certainty requires deep self-reflection. You have to ask yourself, do I truly believe I am worthy of love and respect? Do I feel whole on my own, or do I need someone else to make me feel complete? Do I allow others to dictate how I feel about myself? These questions force you to confront your deepest insecurities. And the truth is, most people struggle with these insecurities. Most people feel the need for external validation because they have never been taught how to validate themselves. But the moment you realize that your worth is not something that can be given or taken away by another person, everything changes. One of the most powerful ways to build inner certainty is to set boundaries. People who lack inner certainty often allow others to cross their boundaries because they fear losing them. They tolerate disrespect because they are afraid of confrontation. They put up with inconsistency because they do not believe they deserve better. But every time you let someone treat you poorly without consequence, you reinforce the belief that you are not worthy of respect. And the more you reinforce that belief, the harder it becomes to break the cycle. Setting boundaries is a direct statement to yourself and to others that you know your worth. It is a declaration that you will not allow yourself to be played, manipulated, or disrespected. And when you uphold your boundaries, you prove to yourself that you are strong, that you are worthy, and that you do not need to tolerate anything less than what you deserve. Another key to building inner certainty is to detach from outcomes. When you're attached to a specific outcome, whether it is getting someone to commit, getting an apology, getting closure, you give away your power. You put your emotional state in the hands of another person. But when you detach from outcomes and focus solely on your own growth, your own happiness, and your own well-being, you become truly powerful. You no longer feel desperate for someone to choose you because you have already chosen yourself. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth because you already know it. And when you operate from this place of certainty, people can feel it. They can sense that you are not someone who can be played, manipulated, or controlled. They know that if they do not treat you right, you will walk away without hesitation. And that kind of confidence is rare, but it is also incredibly attractive. The more you develop inner certainty, the less affected you become by other people's actions. You stop reacting emotionally to every little thing. You stop taking things personally. You stop allowing someone's lack of effort to make you feel unworthy, because you know deep within yourself that you are more than enough. And once you reach that level of certainty, no one can ever play you again. Emotional control is one of the most powerful tools you can develop because it determines how you respond to situations that are designed to trigger you. When someone is playing you, their entire strategy depends on your emotional reactions. They thrive on your frustration, your confusion, your desperation for answers. The moment you start to feel out of control, they know they have won. They push you just far enough to make you question yourself, but not far enough to make you leave. This is why they send mixed signals. This is why they keep you in a state of uncertainty. They want you to chase, to overthink, to react emotionally. The more reactive you are, the more power they hold over you. But when you master emotional control, you take that power back. You stop reacting to their games. You stop allowing their inconsistency to dictate your peace. You become unshakable, and that is when everything changes. Most people do not realize how much control they give away through their emotional responses. When someone ignores you and you react by chasing them, you are reinforcing their behavior. You are teaching them that their silence has power over you. When someone plays hot and cold and you get upset, you are showing them that they can control your mood. This is how manipulation works. It conditions you to respond in ways that benefit the other person. And the more you react emotionally, the deeper you fall into their trap. Emotional control is about breaking this pattern. It is about recognizing when you are being manipulated and choosing not to engage. It is about understanding that your emotions belong to you and no one else has the right to dictate how you feel. One of the biggest challenges in emotional control is resisting the urge to seek closure. When someone plays you, they rarely give you clear answers. They leave you hanging. They disappear without explanation. They refuse to acknowledge the pain they have caused. And this creates a powerful emotional response. You want to know why. You want to understand what you did wrong, why they changed, why they stopped caring. But the truth is, chasing closure is a trap. It keeps you emotionally attached to a situation that is already beneath you. A person who truly cares about you will never leave you in a state of confusion. And a person who intentionally plays with your emotions will never give you the closure you seek. Learning to walk away without needing answers is one of the highest forms of emotional control. It means you are no longer dependent on someone else's explanation to find peace. Another key to emotional control is learning how to manage your reaction. When you feel disrespected, ignored, or played, your first instinct is often to react impulsively. You want to confront them, call them out, make them see how they hurt you, but reacting emotionally only gives them what they want, proof that they still have an effect on you. The real power lies in responding with silence. When you stop engaging, when you stop feeding their ego, when you stop showing them that they have any influence over your emotions, they lose their grip on you. Silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of control. It shows that you have mastered yourself, that you do not need their validation, that you are in charge of your own emotions. And nothing unsettles a manipulator more than realizing they can no longer manipulate you. Emotional control also requires shifting your focus inward. When someone is playing you, it is easy to become obsessed with their actions, what they are thinking, why they are acting this way, whether they will come back. But this obsession drains you. It keeps you locked in a cycle of overanalyzing and self-doubt. The key to breaking free is redirecting that energy back to yourself. Instead of asking, why are they treating me this way? Start asking, why am I tolerating it? Instead of wondering if they will return, start focusing on rebuilding your self-worth. When you make yourself the priority, their behavior loses its power over you. You no longer feel desperate for their attention because you are too busy pouring that attention into yourself. And the moment you shift your focus, you reclaim control over your emotions. Another crucial aspect of emotional control is developing the ability to regulate your thoughts. Your emotions are a direct result of the stories you tell yourself. If you keep telling yourself that you were not good enough, that you must have done something wrong, that you need their validation to feel whole, you will stay stuck in a cycle of pain. But when you start telling yourself the truth, that their actions are a reflection of them, not you, that you deserve better, that you do not need anyone to complete you, you begin to break free from the emotional grip they have over you. The way you speak to yourself determines how you feel. The more you reinforce your worth through your thoughts, the stronger your emotional control becomes. When you master emotional control, you become untouchable. You no longer fall for mind games. You no longer get pulled into toxic cycles. You no longer allow someone's inconsistency to shake your peace. Instead of reacting emotionally, you observe. Instead of seeking validation, you validate yourself. Instead of chasing answers, you walk away with confidence. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about directing them in a way that serves you rather than allowing them to be used against you. And when you reach this level of control, the people who once played you will realize they can no longer affect you. Detachment is the key to freedom. It is the ability to walk away without hesitation, to let go without regret, to remove yourself from situations that do not serve you without looking back. Most people struggle with detachment because they have been conditioned to believe that holding on is a sign of strength. They think that fighting for someone's attention, waiting for them to change, or proving their worth is what it means to love. But in reality, attachment to the wrong person is the very thing that drains your energy, weakens your spirit, and keeps you stuck in emotional cycles that do not serve you. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you start caring more about yourself. It means you stop making excuses for people who consistently show you they do not value you. It means you stop allowing someone else's inconsistency to create instability in your life. It means you free yourself from the need for external validation because you recognize that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's ability to see it. One of the most powerful aspects of detachment is the ability to release expectations. The reason people struggle with being played is because they are emotionally invested in an outcome. They expect that if they give their all, the other person will do the same. They expect that if they are kind, loyal, and patient, they will be rewarded with commitment. But expectations are dangerous because they set you up for disappointment. When you attach yourself to an outcome, you become emotionally dependent on it. And when things do not go as planned, you feel betrayed, confused, and hurt. But when you detach from expectations, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster. You stop expecting people to be who they are not. You stop waiting for them to change. You stop giving your power away to situations that are outside of your control. Instead, you focus on yourself, your growth, your peace. And when you do this, you begin to attract people and situations that align with your true value. Detachment is also about refusing to internalize rejection. When someone plays you, they are testing your limits. They are seeing how much you will tolerate, how far they can push you, how deeply they can affect your emotions. If you take their behavior personally, if you start questioning your worth because of their actions, you fall into their trap. But the moment you detach, the moment you realize that their actions are a reflection of them, not you, everything changes. You no longer take it as a personal attack when they pull away. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth when they ignore you. You no longer chase after someone who does not see your value because you understand that rejection is not always a loss. It is often redirection. It is the universe's way of removing people who are not meant for you, who are not capable of loving you in the way you deserve. When you detach from the fear of rejection, you gain the ability to walk away with confidence. You stop begging, you stop pleading, you stop explaining, you simply leave. Another important part of detachment is controlling your emotions. When you are attached to someone, you give them the power to dictate how you feel. If they text you, you feel happy. If they ignore you, you feel miserable. If they show interest, you feel validated. If they pull away, you feel unworthy. This emotional dependence is dangerous because it puts your happiness in someone else's hands. But when you detach, you take that power back. You stop letting their actions determine your mood. You stop reacting to their games. You stop giving them the satisfaction of knowing they have control over you. Instead, you remain calm, centered, and unbothered. You train yourself to respond, not react. You teach yourself that your emotions belong to you and no one has the right to manipulate them. And when you master this level of emotional independence, you become untouchable. Detachment is also about reclaiming your energy. When you are emotionally attached to the wrong person, you waste so much energy analyzing their actions, replaying conversations, and wondering what you did wrong. You lose sleep over their inconsistency. You overthink every little detail. You exhaust yourself trying to make sense of their behavior. But detachment allows you to reclaim all of that energy. It allows you to redirect it into things that actually serve you, your goals, your passions, your personal growth. When you stop giving your energy to people who drain you, you become unstoppable. You start feeling lighter, stronger, more confident. You stop seeking closure because you realize that closure comes from within. You stop chasing people because you realize that anything that requires chasing is not worth having. You stop settling for bare minimum effort because you know that you deserve more. And when you reach this level of self-respect, the people who once played you will realize that they can no longer affect you. Detachment also means letting go of false hope. One of the hardest things to accept is that some people will never change. No matter how much potential you see in them, no matter how many excuses you make for them, no matter how much you believe in their ability to be better, some people will continue to disappoint you. And the longer you hold on to hope that they will change, the longer you will suffer. Detachment means accepting people for who they are, not who you want them to be. It means seeing things as they are, not as you wish they were. It means recognizing that love should not be painful, confusing, or exhausting. When you let go of false hope, you free yourself from the cycle of waiting, hoping, and hurting. You open yourself up to the possibility of something better, something real, something healthy, something that does not require you to beg for basic respect. At its core, detachment is about power. It is about reclaiming the power you once gave away. It is about choosing yourself over people who do not choose you. It is about understanding that your peace, your happiness, and your self-worth are non-negotiable. When you master detachment, you stop chasing, you stop proving, you stop explaining. You simply live in your truth, knowing that the right people will never require you to abandon yourself to keep them. Self-worth is the foundation of everything you allow into your life. The way you see yourself determines the kind of relationships you tolerate, the way people treat you, and how you respond to situations that challenge your dignity. When you do not recognize your worth, you become vulnerable to manipulation. You make excuses for people who treat you poorly. You settle for less than what you deserve. You believe that if you just try harder, if you just give more, if you just wait a little longer, things will change. But the truth is, nothing changes until you change. Until you decide that you are worthy of respect, worthy of love, worthy of consistency, you will continue to attract people who test your boundaries, who take advantage of your kindness, who see your willingness to forgive as an invitation to keep hurting you. Self-worth is not just a feeling, it is a standard. It is a decision you make every single day about what you will and will not accept. One of the biggest signs that someone is playing you is that they make you question your own value. They do this in subtle ways, by giving you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but not enough to make you feel secure. By being sweet one moment and distant the next. By making you feel special only to turn around and act indifferent. This kind of behavior is designed to make you feel like you are not enough, like you have to work harder for their approval, like you have to earn their love. But love is not something you earn, it is something that is freely given. The moment you feel like you have to prove your worth to someone is the moment you need to walk away. Because anyone who truly values you will never put you in a position where you have to question yourself. Self-worth means refusing to entertain people who do not see your value. It means understanding that your time, your energy, and your love are precious, and not everyone deserves access to them. It means recognizing when someone is only keeping you around for their own benefit and having the strength to remove yourself from that situation. When you do not value yourself, you cling to people who treat you as an option. You settle for inconsistency, mixed signals, and half-hearted efforts. You convince yourself that this is the best you can get. But when you truly understand your worth, you no longer tolerate breadcrumbs. You no longer settle for almost. You no longer allow anyone to make you feel like you have to fight for a place in their life. Because the right people, the ones who genuinely appreciate you, will never put you in that position. Raising your self-worth requires deep inner work. It is not just about saying, I deserve better. It is about believing it. It is about unlearning the patterns that made you feel like you had to accept less. It is about healing the parts of you that think love must be painful, that attention must be earned, that your value is tied to how much someone wants you. True self-worth is built from within. It is not dependent on whether someone texts you back, whether they choose you, whether they stay. It is knowing that you are already whole, already valuable, already deserving, regardless of how anyone else treats you. When you truly embody self-worth, your energy shifts. You no longer seek validation from people who do not deserve your time. You no longer lower your standards just to keep someone in your life. You no longer fear being alone because you understand that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel unseen. People can sense when you value yourself. They can feel it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you set boundaries, in the way you refuse to accept less than what you deserve. And those who once played with your emotions, who once took advantage of your kindness, who once thought they could keep you on a string, will realize that they can no longer manipulate you. A major part of self-worth is setting boundaries and enforcing them. It is one thing to say, I will not tolerate disrespect, but it is another thing to actually walk away when it happens. Many people struggle with boundaries because they are afraid of losing someone. They think if I stand up for myself, they might leave. But anyone who leaves because you respect yourself is someone who was never meant to stay. Boundaries are not about controlling other people. They are about protecting your peace. They are about making it clear what is and is not acceptable in your life. They are about ensuring that you are surrounded by people who uplift you, not drain you. When you have strong self-worth, you do not fear losing people. You fear losing yourself by tolerating things that do not align with your values. Self-worth also means knowing when to walk away and not looking back. It means not giving second chances to people who showed you they did not value you the first time. It means not falling for empty apologies, for false promises, for words that do not match actions. People who play games thrive on your willingness to forgive, on your hope that they will change, on your belief that things will get better if you just hold on. But holding on to someone who disrespects you is not love. It is self-betrayal. Every time you allow someone back into your life after they have shown you who they truly are, you are teaching them that they can treat you however they want and you will still be there. But when you know your worth, you do not give endless chances. You do not make excuses for poor behavior. You do not allow someone's inconsistency to disrupt your peace. You simply move on, knowing that you deserve better. One of the most liberating feelings in the world is realizing that you do not need anyone to complete you. When you have true self-worth, you are not waiting for someone to choose you because you have already chosen yourself. You are not chasing after someone's affection because you have already given that love to yourself. You are not afraid of losing anyone because you know that the right people will never require you to sacrifice your dignity. Self-worth is about stepping into your power, knowing that you bring value to every space you enter and refusing to let anyone treat you like you are ordinary. When you master this, you stop being played, you stop being manipulated, you stop allowing people to dictate your worth. You become untouchable, unshakable, and truly free.